Maynard. Star 6. Simone?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. I do want to apologize in advance for the background noise here. I did not anticipate for this to be this lengthy, but thanks for the opportunity letting me speak. I would like to express deep concerns about the BARC TNR facility and the senseless killings that are ongoing. I do have specific questions as in are there certified trained behavior specialists on site in that facility that actually do determine which dogs are being killed, and I say killed intentionally, not euthanized, because reality is less than 1% of all dogs coming into the shelter have behavioral issues, because most of them, if any, can be solved with proper training. My next question was what the city council and the mayor decides to do about the current management, because when I look at the interview, especially with Greg Damian, and how he describes the killing or the reason for the killing of Milo a couple of weeks ago, where he specifically said for whatever reason he was killed. That is, to us citizens, absolutely unacceptable. I have raised concerns by email to the city council, including the mayor, and I hope I'm safe saying that when I did receive a return email, which was unfortunately an automatic response, and I would like to express my disappointment because I would like to think that the lives of animals matter more to everybody. So there is some deep concerns going on, and I'm still looking for answers and how the council, including you, Mayor, would like to continue this.
Councilman Travis?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Ms. Maynard, thank you very much for showing up today, and I appreciate your comments. I will say I actually agree with both of your comments. I do know that things are starting to improve at BARC. I think that's in large part to Nikki Cooper and Tina Paez, and I also think due to the mayor. But I do also understand how when you saw that clip from Greg Damanoff, you would be upset with that because, for whatever reasons, his job skills aren't in journalism. So he probably needs to work a little bit on being in front of the camera. With that said, I think everybody's admitted that Milo was a mistake and probably should not have been put down. But the other two dogs did exhibit problems and issues, and one, a veterinarian actually signed off on it. And I will say this, the veterinarians at BARC are actually very good people, very caring people. And if they make that determination, I will actually stand by that. But as for the aggressiveness, I will also say is I do think sometimes we put animals down when they show aggressiveness because we don't take the time to see what that aggressiveness happens to be. But that's also a matter of money. Do we have the time and money to put in to the programs to determine that? I rescued a dog years ago that actually showed food aggressiveness for about 5 days because the dog was on the streets. And if you tried to pet the dog or do anything with the dog while the food was there, he didn't know that food was going to be there tomorrow. He didn't know someone was going to try to take it away. But after he got used to the fact that that food was there, and it was there for him until he ate it, and it was there every day, he actually became very docile and was easily adopted out through the CAPS weekend program. So there are ways that you can overcome the aggressiveness, and then sometimes there's just not. Sometimes because of the damage that's been done to these animals, we just can't rescue them, and I hate that, and I wish that weren't true. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens with people too, and it's just terrible that happens. But I do understand what you're saying on this, and I will actually talk to Director Paez about the issue on the aggressiveness issue and who's training and how it's done, because that's something that I would like to know myself. But again, thank you for coming today.
Let me just yep.
I'm sorry. So when you say improvements, what improvements are you looking at? Because I think it is unacceptable that mistakes cannot happen where a life is putting down, just like Milo. It just can't happen. and statistics, and it shows over and over and over. There are, and I know you just explained it, but is there a behavioral specialist on site?
Well, let me just say that they're very dedicated people at BARC, very committed. The live release rate at BARC now, I want to say it's about 95% at BARC, 95% at BARC. So euthanasia is just the last resort. I've looked at those previous cases. Milo, they should have waited longer because it was a transport issue, and someone was on their way on Milo. In respect to the other dog with behavioral issues, they tried to sedate the dog. We had a rescue of someone there, but they also agreed that there were serious behavioral issues, and they said no, that they would not take the dog because of behavioral issues. In respect to that third case, the dog had a very bad leg injury, and the veterinarian said it would be inhumane for that animal dog if they were to be moving him from one place to another. And so it was the veterinarian who insisted that in that case he was not a good case to be moved from one location to another. So the professional people at BARC, I will tell you, are very committed, very dedicated, and they are picking up more than 100 animals a day. And even in the month of May, there were about 2,200 animals that went through the BARC system. So we always strive to do better. We're not perfect. We're always striving to do better, and we're going to continue to strive to do better. Okay. But, appreciate the call today. All right, next speaker.
Darla Berry.
Darla Berry.
I'm here.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to share my urgent concerns over the complete failure of BARC in its service to the animals and residents of Houston. I've been volunteering with BARC for 15 years, and in that time, animal overpopulation has increased. It's an embarrassment to our city. Besides the harm to animals, it also creates a huge public health concern for the city's residents, where parents cannot let their children walk to school or play outside for fear of stray dogs. This is unacceptable. First, we need to update city ordinances. We should require spay and neuter and make it free and accessible for low-income residents. Changing the culture through education will take too long. Providing free spay and neuter will save money, improve our city, and create better outcomes for animals and for BARC. Due to time constraints, I'm going to focus on stray and feral cats. I'm part of a team of volunteers that conducts trap, neuter, return, or TNR, the most effective and humane strategy for population control of stray cats. It's a constant challenge to get resources, and we spend a lot of time, energy, and our own money to help animals. We're happy to volunteer our services, but we need greater resources from the city so we can do more. Recently, the process for colony managers became more efficient with the ability to make appointments online. BARC had a contract for spay and neuter with Emancipant, who made it easy for us trappers to drop off cats in time to get to our day jobs. I was stunned to learn that that contract had been canceled 2 weeks ago. Trappers had appointments in the online system, but when we got to Emancipant, we were informed that we had no appointments. We were not notified of the change, and later we were informed that all TNR had been paused. In the height of kitten season, the extremely limited intake at BARC last year during COVID has made an already bad situation 100 times worse, with the kitten explosion out there with no resources. The TNR system needs improvement. We need to train more trappers and offer stipends or incentives for them. TNR cats must be returned to their homes, not released within the zip code, which is the current policy. BARC falsely increased its live release rate by spaying and neutering ferals, strays, and even tame cats, and releasing them randomly back into the general zip code that they came from, rather than the specific home that they know. There's no transparency with BARC, and trust has been completely eroded. When leadership fails, the whole organization fails, and that's what we have at BARC, a failed organization. Something must change. Thank you.
And Councilmember Travis.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Berry, I've got to thank you for coming in today. I agree with your criticisms. I think they were well-founded based upon my experiences and the people that are advising me. But more importantly, I like the fact that you had some good ideas and you had some solutions to some of these issues where we're failing. And I know that Director Paez is listening. Hopefully Greg Daminoff is listening. And hopefully they'll take some of those up and implement them. So I really appreciate you coming in today because it was actually very worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker.
Thank you.
Next speaker